These 6 movements redefine the body, and you certainly wish you had started before 40. A truth that few can bear to hear is that many of the physical problems that appear after 40 or 50 years could be easily avoided with just a few minutes of specific movements per day. That's why today you'll see 6 fundamental movements that, if ignored now, can transform into the kind of regret you only realize when it's already too late. And no, we're not talking about those empty promises you see out there saying that you just need to walk for 10 minutes and all your problems will disappear like magic. I'm talking about focused exercises that really make a difference in your quality of life, strength, and mobility in the long term. These are movements that work frequently neglected areas, but crucial to avoid chronic pain and functional limitations in the future. Before we begin, please leave in the comments your name and the city from where you're watching our content. Exercise 6. Squat with rotation. The squat with rotation is one of the most complete exercises you can incorporate into your routine, and for good reason. This movement simultaneously works your quadriceps, glutes, core, and spine mobility, creating a synergy that few exercises can offer. By adding the rotation component, you're essentially training the body for real-life movements, where we rarely move in a single plane. Think about the times when you need to pick something up from the floor and place it on a high shelf. That's exactly the movement pattern we're training here. To execute correctly, stand with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Keep your chest elevated and spine neutral, as if you were being pulled upward by an imaginary thread at the top of your head. Distribute your weight equally between the front and back of your feet to create a stable base. As you descend into the squat, keep the weight in your heels and make sure your knees don't go past the line of your toes. Imagine you're sitting in an invisible chair behind you. Descend until your thighs are parallel to the floor, or as far as your mobility allows without compromising posture. As you rise, rotate your trunk to one side, extending the opposite arm in the direction of rotation, as if you were reaching for something on a high shelf. Alternate sides with each repetition, creating a fluid and natural rhythm. You'll know you're doing it right when you feel a comfortable tension in your quadriceps and glutes during the squat phase, and a slight stretch on the side of your abdomen during rotation. There should be no pain in the joints, just a sensation of muscle work. Your breathing should flow naturally. Inhale as you descend and exhale during the rise and rotation. One of the most common errors I see is people allowing their knees to collapse inward during the squat. This puts unnecessary pressure on the joints and can lead to knee injuries in the long term. For optimal results, I recommend 3 sets of 12 repetitions, alternating sides. If you're just starting now, you can begin with 2 sets of 8 repetitions and progress gradually. The important thing is to keep the quality of movement above quantity. A well-executed squat with rotation is worth more than 10 done any which way. Exercise 5. Sumo Squat. This exercise is particularly beneficial for strengthening the pelvic floor and improving hip stability, 2 frequently neglected areas but extremely important for spine health and preventing problems such as lower back pain and sciatica. The sumo squat is also exceptional for developing mobility in the hip joint, something we tend to lose with aging and sedentary lifestyle. To execute the sumo squat correctly, position your feet much wider than shoulder width apart, with your toes pointing outward at approximately 45 degrees. This wider position is the key to properly activating the adductors and inner thighs. Even before starting the movement, establish a strong base by screwing your feet into the floor, as if you were trying to rotate the outer part of your feet outward without actually moving them. This preventively activates the hip muscles. Keep your spine erect, chest elevated, and shoulders relaxed, away from your ears. As you descend, imagine you're sitting between your legs, not behind them. Keep the weight distributed evenly between the front of the feet and the heels. Descend until your thighs are parallel to the floor, keeping your knees aligned with the direction of your feet throughout the movement. Press your feet against the floor to rise, actively contracting the glutes at the top of the movement, as if you were squeezing a coin between them. A very common error in the sumo squat is not opening the legs wide enough or not pointing the feet outward enough. This limits the depth of the squat and significantly reduces the work of the adductors. The correct position should allow you to descend deeply without compromising posture. Another frequent error is letting the knees collapse inward during the rise, which can lead to injuries in the long term. Always keep your knees aligned with your toes throughout the movement, using the strength of the lateral hip muscles to maintain this alignment. Many people also make the mistake of excessively leaning the trunk forward, which transforms the movement into a less effective hybrid squat for the adductors. You'll know you're executing the sumo squat correctly when you feel intense work in the inner thighs and significant activation of the glutes, especially when rising. If you feel a good burn in the adductors and inner thigh, you're on the right track. For this exercise, I recommend 3 sets of 10 repetitions. To make the exercise more challenging, you can hold a kettlebell or dumbbells close to your chest, but only after completely mastering the technique with body weight. Exercise 4. Dead bug. The dead bug exercise may seem simple at first glance, but it's one of the most effective movements for strengthening the deep core and establishing a mind-muscle connection essential for spine stability. This exercise primarily works the transverse abdominal muscles, obliques, and deep back muscles, which are fundamental for preventing lower back pain and improving posture. What makes the dead bug so special is its ability to teach the body to maintain spine stability while the limbs are in motion, a crucial skill in daily activities. If you've already suffered from lower back pain or want to prevent it, this exercise should be at the top of your priority list. To execute correctly, lie on your back on the floor with your arms extended toward the ceiling and your legs raised with knees bent at 90 degrees, as if you were holding an invisible table with your hands and feet. This is your starting point. The secret here is in the lumbar pressure. You should actively press the lumbar region against the floor throughout the exercise, eliminating any space between your back and the ground. To help with this process, imagine you're pulling your navel toward your spine. Maintain this pressure while slowly extending one leg forward, lowering it almost to the floor without allowing your lower back to arch. Simultaneously, take the opposite arm backward, above your head, keeping it close to your ear. The key is to move the limbs only to the point where you can maintain total control of the lower back position. The more you extend the limbs, the more intense the work becomes in the core. Return to the starting position with control and repeat with the opposite side. The most common error in the dead bug is allowing the lower back to arch when the limbs move. This not only makes the exercise ineffective, but can also reinforce harmful movement patterns. A useful tip is to place a thin folded towel under your lower back. Take the test. If you can pull it out during the exercise, you're losing pressure against the floor. Another frequent error is performing the movement too quickly, which drastically reduces the benefit. The dead bug is an exercise of control, not speed. It's also common to see people holding their breath, which makes proper activation of the deep core difficult. Breathing should be natural and coordinated with the movement. You should not feel tension or discomfort in the lumbar region. If you do, it's a sign that your lower back is arching and losing contact with the floor. Your breathing should remain constant, without holding your breath, and you should feel that you can precisely control the position of your pelvis throughout the movement. For this exercise, I recommend 3 sets of 8 repetitions for each side, focusing on the quality and control of each movement. If it's too challenging at first, start by moving only the legs, keeping the arms stable, and gradually add the arm movement. Before we continue to number 3, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to correct and science-based information is what will make you progress in the long term in the world of bodybuilding. Exercise 3, Superman. The Superman, despite its peculiar name, is a true gem for strengthening the spine extensors and combating the harmful effects of long hours sitting, which is one of the main villains of health before 40. Think of Superman as the perfect counterpoint to all the hours we spend hunched over phones and computers. This movement specifically works the erector spinae muscles, the latissimus dorsi, the glutes, and the posterior part of the shoulders. In other words, the entire posterior chain of the body, which tends to weaken with our modern lifestyle. Strengthening these muscles is crucial for improving posture, preventing back pain, and creating proper muscle balance. To execute the Superman correctly, lie face down on a comfortable surface, with your arms extended in front of your head and your legs stretched out. Before starting the movement, find a neutral position for your neck. Don't force your chin up or down. Keep it in natural alignment with your spine, with your gaze directed to the floor, not forward. Completely relax your shoulders, moving them away from your ears. From this preparation, simultaneously raise your arms and legs a few inches from the floor. You don't need to lift very high. The important thing is the quality of the contraction. Imagine you're trying to lengthen your body, stretching your fingers toward a wall in front of you and your toes toward the opposite wall, creating a line of energy that runs through your entire body. Hold the position for 2 to 3 seconds, feeling the contraction of the back and glute muscles, and then return in a controlled manner to the starting position, without letting your limbs hit the floor. An interesting variation is the isometric Superman, where you maintain the elevated position for up to 10 seconds, focusing on the quality of contraction and constant breathing. A common error is hyperextending the neck, looking up instead of keeping your gaze to the floor. This can cause unnecessary tension in the cervical region and, over time, contribute to problems such as cervical disc herniation. Another frequent error is lifting the limbs too high, causing excessive lumbar compression. You'll know you're executing the Superman correctly when you feel a clear and distributed contraction along your back, glutes, and the posterior part of your shoulders. There should be no acute discomfort in the lumbar region, just a sensation of muscle work. For optimal results, I recommend 3 sets of 12 repetitions, maintaining each contraction for 2 to 3 seconds. If you're beginning, you can start by lifting only the arms or only the legs and then progress to the complete movement. Exercise 2. Purformis Stretch. The Purformis Stretch is one of those exercises that few know about, but that can make an impressive difference in your quality of life. The piriformis muscle is small and deep, located in the gluteal region, but its impact is enormous. When tense or shortened, it can compress the sciatic nerve, causing the famous sciatica, with pain that radiates from the lower back to the foot. Additionally, a tense piriformis can contribute to misalignments in the hip and knee, creating a domino effect of compensations throughout the body. This muscle frequently becomes problematic due to sitting time and lack of mobility in the hip, extremely common problems in modern life. To perform the piriformis stretch correctly, lie on your back on a comfortable surface and flex both knees with your feet supported on the floor at hip width. Establish a stable base with the spine in a neutral position, neither excessively arched nor completely flattened against the floor. Cross your right leg over the left, resting your right ankle just above your left knee, forming a number 4. Keep your foot flexed to protect the knee. This is crucial, as a relaxed foot can create a twist in the knee. You should already feel a slight stretch in this position. To intensify, gently hold behind your left thigh, passing your hand through the hole formed by your legs, and bring both legs toward your chest with a gentle and constant pressure. You should feel a deep stretch in the right gluteal region. The key here is to keep your back completely supported on the floor. Don't raise your hips or lower back. This ensures that the stretch specifically targets the piriformis and is not compensated for by other muscles. Maintain the position for 30 seconds to 1 minute, breathing deeply, and then switch to the other side. This is not an exercise to feel the burn, but for gradual release of tension. A common error is forcing the stretch too much, especially at the beginning. This can cause more tension instead of relief, as the body responds to excessive discomfort by contracting the muscles as a protection mechanism. Start with a moderate intensity and gradually increase as the muscle relaxes. Another frequent error is not keeping the foot flexed, which can put undue stress on the knee. Flexing the foot not only protects the joint, but also better positions the leg for a more effective piriformis stretch. You'll know you're doing it correctly when you feel a deep but comfortable stretch in the gluteal region. The sensation should be of gradual relief, not acute pain. With deep breathing, you should feel that the stretch naturally deepens with each exhalation, as if the muscle were melting and releasing accumulated tension. If you have a history of sciatica, you may even feel a slight tingling in the leg, which should decrease with regular stretching. As the muscle relaxes, you may notice a sensation of release that extends to the lateral part of the hip and even to the lumbar region. For this exercise, I recommend maintaining the stretch for 30 seconds to 1 minute on each side, repeating 2 to 3 times. Ideally, incorporate this stretch daily, especially if you spend a lot of time sitting or if you have a history of sciatic pain. Exercise 1. Glute Bridge. The glute bridge, also known as pelvic elevation, is a fundamental exercise that many people execute incorrectly, losing a large part of its benefits. This movement is exceptional for strengthening the glutes, which are the largest muscles in the body and frequently become inactive due to prolonged sitting time, a phenomenon known as sleepy glute syndrome. Additionally, it works the hamstrings, the core, and the stabilizers of the lumbar spine. Glute strength is crucial not only for activities such as running and jumping, but also for the stability of the hip, knee, and spine, preventing a series of problems such as lower back pain, knee injuries, and even pelvic floor dysfunctions. To execute the glute bridge correctly, lie on your back with your knees bent and feet supported on the floor at hip width. Check that your feet are positioned so that, when looking down, you can see just the tips of your toes beyond your knees, neither too close nor too far from the hip. Position your arms at your sides, with palms down, using them as stabilizers, not to propel the movement. The secret that few know is in the preparation. Before raising your hips, activate your core, and make a slight pelvic retroversion movement by pushing the lower part of your back against the floor. This ensures that you're using your glutes and not overloading your lower back. Think about creating a pre-tension in the muscles you're going to use. From there, start the movement by pressing your heels into the floor, not the balls of your feet, and raise your hips until forming a straight line from your shoulder to your knee. Avoid rising too high, which would create an excessive curve in the spine. At the top of the movement, strongly squeeze your glutes for 1 to 2 seconds before descending in a controlled manner, vertebra by vertebra, starting from the upper part of the spine until the tailbone touches the floor again. An extremely common error is not adequately activating the glutes, allowing the hip flexors and lower back to do the work. You can identify this if you feel tension or discomfort in the lumbar region during the exercise. To correct, focus on the conscious contraction of the glutes before and during the entire movement. Another frequent error is raising the hips too high, causing hyperextension of the spine. The bridge should not cause lumbar discomfort. If this happens, you're probably arching your back too much and not properly engaging the core. For optimal results, I recommend 3 sets of 15 repetitions. Focus on the quality of the glute contraction, not just on raising and lowering the hips. If you feel that the hamstrings are doing most of the work, or starting to cramp, adjust the position of your feet, bringing them a little closer to your hip. To make the exercise more challenging, you can evolve to the unilateral bridge, place your feet on an elevated surface, or add weight over your hips. If you liked this, and also want to discover 5 isometric positions that will change your entire body, we've left a video showing and explaining each one of them appearing right now on the screen. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching this far, and may God bless you, my friend.